I'm a scientist working at an institute called EMPA in Switzerland. It's a material science institute, part of the ETH domain, the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology. I am part of a research group called CARE, and our main focus is resource efficiency and especially the recovery of metals or all kinds of polymers, glasses, minerals in the end-of-life streams of complex wastes or articles. So e-waste is at the core, or at the heart of our research focus. I joined EMPA 15 years ago. Before that, I did a couple of other things, other experiments. My origin is an electrical engineer and physicist. And in the beginning of my career, I tried to implant atoms into crystals to make them electronics. And now the last 15 years, I try to get these atoms out again. And I have to say that part is much more difficult. In these 15 years, when I studied at EMPA, this was just the time when news went around that electronics being found in poverty in developing countries, all sorts of disasters happened during the recycling. And we were asked by the Swiss government, development agencies, to look into this matter and, if possible, to assist such countries or such enterprises, individuals, to improve the situation. And I still do that. So you can imagine that this is not a simple task. What we found is that there is very little knowledge. So I think we spent at least 10 years to figure out what is going on, what is the problem. And there's very little scientific methodology also to really figure out. So you cannot just apply what we know in our, say, more developed cases where we have industrial measures, where we have equipment, where we have machinery to clean up or to digest the e-waste or the e-waste, the electronic equipment. If you land in a poverty-stricken environment, you need all sorts of new methodologies. So I think that was number one issue, to develop capabilities and capacities to get the numbers right. What are the flows? What are the toxins? How they distribute? Where do you find them? What are the hotspots? And when it started to be clear where they are, then you could, or we were able to point, say, entrepreneurs or other institutions who really intend to do something about improving it to the right areas. So actually, us as researchers, we are not the guys who then invent the machines and we invent the economics to clean it up. I mean, we are the guys who say, hey people, here we have the problem, and actually point to the problem. I think there's a lot to learn north-south, but probably even more south-south. I think many countries have developed skills. What is called the informal sector is of course at risk when it comes to certain toxins, but at the same time they are also very inventive, probably sometimes more inventive than European industries, how to handle complex wastes in a very low-cost manner. And I think the learning was very much bidirectional, and I think we brought back also to Switzerland quite a number of interesting options. So I think our dismantlers nowadays, they have picked up a couple of good ideas we found somewhere in the south, as well as the other way around. 10 years ago, when we had the first insights what is going on, it was very obvious that it needs to be communicated. And there was very, very little capacity to do that. So one thing which happened in those days, part of the Swiss e-waste program, which was then started, was to set up a platform. And together with the UNU, the UN University, STEP was founded as a platform where science and business could sit together and try to improve really the worst situations based on scientific facts. There was a huge hype and everything was a catastrophe, and we wanted to bring some rationality into this setup. And I think this was a success story in the sense that many of the big global players, big OEMs, but also governments, NGOs participated in this platform. And one of the fruits out of that was then, in the beginning, we called it a summer school, that we tried to catch interested students, PhD or others. And this has evolved in a number of varieties in the e-waste academy. So it went also towards managers, and I think there are new possibilities or varieties to be invented. I think that's crucial. We need to speed up the learning, and this has to be facilitated by such platforms and events. Teaching, learning, listening, understanding. That's why we need this urgently. I think we have still not enough. We need more, not less.
Yeah.
Currently, there are two important species of e-waste academy. So the one for students, which is the old summer school, and then we have the EWAM. So we are currently at an EWAM for managers. For me, it's interesting to see that these former students have now moved up into positions where they are decision makers, became business people. It's very interesting to see how this network still has quite a bit of glue. They know each other, they talk to each other, they meet each other. So I think that's a lasting experience for all of them. In the EWAM, I have participated a bit less, but for instance, the former one 2 years ago in Kenya resulted into an incredibly stable network amongst African recyclers and other stakeholders. And for me, it was almost unimaginable 15 years ago that in 10 years we can establish in an environment like Africa such a network, that you have people capable to run a recycling company, that they are keen to connect East and West Africa, that they are keen to learn completely new things. And that's just in a matter of 10 years. So I think every minute you spend in such platforms and environments is well spent. After now the closing of the EWAM this year in Bangkok, I am 100% convinced that we are going to see similar things. If you look back 2 years from now, or to now, I'm pretty sure there will be links and connections which are going to last.